I like to read credits at the end of the movie, and I noticed that you listed every background performer, which is so amazing. But I also saw that you dedicated the movie to your brothers. What is the story behind that dedication? Is it because possibly the movie is somewhat autobiographical?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fictional family, it's a fictional story, but there are elements or snippets of conversation, a couple of events early on in the story, like the whole duck hunting sequence and all that. That's taken from childhood memories that I have. And because I have a shared childhood with my brothers, Charles and Walter, and the movie has a lot to do with my feelings and memories about my parents, especially my mother. It was out of respect to them that I would acknowledge them.
The duck story was from real life. Did you actually sleep with the duck in your bed?
All of that happened. It didn't happen in North America. It happened in Argentina, but it was winter and I was 4 years old and I did insist on bathing with the duck and sleeping with it. And my dad did back me up against my mother's wishes. And I just thought it was an interesting story in pieces to introduce the audience to this family, their relationship to nature, to each other, the father-son dynamic, the mother-son dynamic. It was a good way to get into the story and get to know this family a bit.
You've done several films in Canada, and you've even won a Genie for one of them. What made you decide to film Falling in Canada?
Well, I mean, it was the landscape was perfect for this story. That's where we found our financing and our support, both from the government of Canada and Ontario Creates. And we were able to put together a really good European-Canadian co-production deal where we shot the movie in Ontario and almost completely, and then did post-production in Europe, all the editing and sound mix and the music and all that recording. But I mean, I've had experience, as you say, working in Canada before, and I know how good crews are there. And that was a big plus. I mean, we had a very tight schedule. We had 5 weeks in Ontario to shoot an ambitious story, different time periods, working with kids that had limited hours, and working in winter, we have limited daylight hours. So it was, I knew I needed a crack team and people who would work in a good collaborative way, which I've experienced many times in Canada. So it was great. We had a really good work experience.
I know you're a horse lover, and you've even purchased horses from the sets of your film sometimes. Were any of your horses in this film?
No, they're Canadian horses from Ontario. There was one horse in a movie I shot earlier, the second movie I shot in Canada, History of Violence. There was a horse in one scene, just briefly, and he was brought in by the guy who worked with us on Falling. Actually, he brought in the horses that you see in our movie. They were very nice horses, and they worked really well in difficult, icy, snowy conditions, and they were great. It was a good experience. I like horses, and when they're in the movie somehow, it seems to help us.
I always love to see horses in a movie. You can't go wrong there. I understand you've written another screenplay actually prior to Falling. What is the status on that, and what is it about?
I've written some different ones. The first time I tried to direct a movie from an original screenplay was like 25 years ago. I still have that one. And during the lockdown, during the pandemic this year, I've written 2 others. And I hope one of those 2 will be the next one I direct. I don't know if I'll be able to shoot it in Canada or not. One of them could be shot in Canada. The other one would not be. It would be shot in Scandinavia. But and I would, use some of the people there were some Scandinavian elements to Falling as well. Our cinematographer, Marcel Ziskin, was Danish and did a great job. So I don't know what will happen next, but fortunately, I have a couple of producers interested in both those stories. So I don't think it'll take 25 years before I can make my next one, fortunately.
Fantastic. I know everyone's just really looking forward to another film from you because this one was so fantastic.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for talking to me today. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.